Welcome to Digital Branding and Marketing Training Series Unit 16, Engagement Methods and Handling Objections. Hello, and welcome to the course, Engagement Methods and Handling Objections. As an advisor, learning to engage leads from the initial introduction to a loyal customer is an important skill. You need to understand and read your customers' emotional responses at different engagement stages. Learning to make sense and handle objections is crucial to your success. In this course, you will learn the stages of engagement, emotions attached to each engagement stage, and how to read these emotional signals over text. You will also gain a better understanding of when to step back. You will also learn about making sense of objections and how to overcome objections to set up future interactions. Lastly, you will discover how to craft a send-off message. Let's get started. Let us first learn about the stages of engagement. The engagement stages will help you categorize your relationship with a lead. Depending on that relationship and where it is, tactics. There are 4 stages of engagement, which are introduction, growing relationship, customer loyalty, and advocacy. Let's take a look at the first stage, introduction. Introduction here means your first experience with a customer and vice versa. Remember that adage about first impressions? They are valid for brands too. Do your best to make your first impression professional, knowledgeable, and approachable. It's easier to create a good first impression online by sourcing for content available on SIM. The second stage of engagement is growing relationship. As the customer continues to interact with you and your brand, you are considered to be growing the relationship. During this stage, it is vital to nurture the lead, learn about them, understand their needs and wants, and try to provide value wherever possible. The third stage of engagement is customer loyalty. After the relationship has grown for some time and your customer has made a purchase, enjoyed the experience, and chosen to come back for another purchase or other advice, you have generated loyalty. During this stage, it is most important to ensure you continue to make that loyalty worthwhile. Reward them with knowledge, information, attention, and the opportunity to take advantage of available new products. The final stage of a successful engagement is advocacy. The final engagement stage is when your loyal customer begins to recommend you to other leads. This is extremely powerful. A lead recommended by a customer will always be more likely to convert than a lead from any other channel. This is why it is so important to continue to guide your leads through the 4 stages of engagement to create advocates for you and your brand. Time to test yourself. In this section, let's take a look at the different types of content and the emotional response they elicit. As you are trying to guide customers through the 4 stages of engagement, it is important to understand their emotional state in each stage. It will help you understand their concerns, needs, or fears so that you can respond appropriately. Let's take a look at the introduction stage. Customers may be nervous, skeptical, and even cynical during the introduction stage because they don't know you or your brand. It is your job to encourage your customers to get to know you. What happens during the growing relationship stage? At this stage, customers may still be a little hesitant or skeptical. Although they will be interested to learn more and intrigued by what you may have to offer, they will also be taking a wait-and-see approach. It is important not to push too hard during this stage. During the customer loyalty stage, the customer will be coming to you. They will ask you for advice, information, and more as they trust you. The most important thing during this stage is not to break that trust. Don't try to push them something they don't need. And don't take them for granted as you focus on nurturing other leads. Customers will be proud to recommend you to others during the advocacy stage. Similar to the loyalty stage, this is heavily built on trust. They trust you enough to recommend you to people they care about, friends, family, colleagues. Time to test yourself. In this section, let's review how you can read emotional signals over text. It is natural to read emotional signals when meeting face-to-face. These emotional signals help you understand when to push a bit harder or step back when dealing with someone you may not know so well. As we move increasingly into digital communication, it gets harder and harder to read those signs. There are a few things you can look for when it comes to reading emotions over text messages. The first one is always assume the best in people. Some people are not good texters and may seem rude, but they don't mean to be. As an advisor, you want to keep a positive mindset. Another point you can consider is trusting them with their words. If someone says they are sad, trust them. If they say they are happy, trust them too. There is no point in trying to guess or read between the lines. The easiest way to understanding what someone is thinking or feeling is to simply ask them. If you can't tell what someone is feeling, or if you are concerned, you may have crossed a line. Always ask. It is best to know than to assume. Another important thing you can use to get an idea of your customers' emotional responses is emojis. If people are using emojis or emoticons, it usually communicates that they are comfortable or engaged in the conversation. Lastly, try and get to know the person. Generally, people have their way of texting, so it helps to understand and get used to how they text. You'll soon notice changes in the way they text. For example, suddenly using shorter sentences or taking longer to reply. Time to test yourself. In this section, let's take a look at when you need to step back. It is always important to understand when to stop and step back, and executing this is pretty straightforward. It is simply about respect. If someone asks you to step back, politely acknowledge the request and then step back. If they say they are busy, give them space. If they don't reply, don't keep messaging asking for a reply. If they say they are not interested in an offer, please don't keep promoting to them. In short, listen to the customer and accept that they won't always have time, be interested, or even want to have a conversation with you now. Time to test yourself. Now that you've gained a better understanding of the stages of engagement, let's discuss another important topic: making sense of objections. Objections could come from your client at any point. This could be at the start of your interactions when you are qualifying the lead until the final sign-off for a proposal. Objections to your proposals, suggestions, or your efforts to strike a conversation and build a relationship can be challenging to deal with. It never feels good to encounter objection. However, it comes with the role when you become an advisor. The key is learning to understand the objections and how to move forward from them. Finally, if you don't get an answer or response, seek more from the client sincerely on how to improve. Be sincere and let the client know how important it is for you to hear what they think so that you can improve and grow in the ways you serve your clients. Making sense of objections requires two simple steps. The first step is to hear your customer out. It is important to hear the person out sincerely. Don't be defensive. They will often share with you why they are not interested or why they disagree with a proposition. A key to this is to not immediately refute the objection with a quick or intelligent reply. Give the person time and space to object, and focus on what they have to say. The second part is to identify the cause. If you don't understand why the objection occurred, you won't be able to learn from it, grow, or improve. You'll also be likely to re-encounter the same objection in the future. Here is a tip. You can rephrase the objection back to the customer to ensure that you understood it correctly. Allow them to adjust your understanding if you have gotten something wrong. Finally, if you don't get an answer or response, seek more from the client sincerely on how to improve. Be sincere and let the client know how important it is for you to hear what they think so you can improve and grow in the ways you serve your clients. Time to test yourself. Overcoming objections is the next step after you have made sense of it. Let's go through the process of handling objections. To do that, we use a simple tool called LADR. Listen, acknowledge, diffuse, and refocus. Click on each tab to know more. The first tool is Listen. When thrown an objection, let your client talk. After listening, make an effort to gently probe further and ask questions to clarify their specific concern. It is essential to understand the actual objection before handling it. The second tool is Acknowledge. Acknowledge your client by summarizing the key points of their concern. Show understanding without validating or arguing. Empathy plays a part. It will help you with bringing the client's guard down. The third tool is Diffuse. Once your client is more comfortable, diffuse their objections by reinforcing the benefits of what you wish to share with them. Ascertain if you think you can provide an alternative or a solution that will solve the objection. If you think you can solve the objection, calmly lay your solution on the table. Be specific on the steps you would be able to take to diffuse your customer's concern. Show concern and professionalism. Check for your client's understanding and satisfaction with your answer. Let's take a look at some examples of common objections. In this objection, customer says, "I am not interested." Here's how this objection can be handled. Mr. Tan, I appreciate you telling me that. In fact, I had other clients who felt like you and told me they were not interested at first. However, after going through the session, they found it extremely useful. As I said, it only takes 20 to 30 minutes to explain it to you. Then you can judge for yourself if this will be of benefit to you. So on that basis, can we arrange an appointment? Another client's objection can be, "I already have insurance." Here's how this objection can be handled. Mrs. Nathan, I appreciate you telling me that. May I ask, when was the last time you reviewed your insurance portfolio? It was 5 years back. Thank you for sharing that, Mrs. Nathan. As you're aware, an individual's insurance needs changes at different life stages. If we think back on where you were 5 years ago when you were single with no children, what would have been your needs then? And how about now? In 5 years, there may be so many changes without you even realizing it. And as I mentioned, this review is only for 20 to 30 minutes. And it would be useful to understand if your current insurance arrangement meets your current needs. So on that basis, would you prefer to meet next Wednesday, 23rd at 2 p.m. or will Saturday, 26th be better for you? You may face a very common objection. I am too busy, or I don't have time. Let's see with this example how it can be managed. Mr. Nguyen, I appreciate you telling me that. I understand how busy your schedule is. Many of my clients are like you, busy working professionals. That is why I'm calling today to take a minute of your time now to arrange a meeting at a time that suits you better, maybe next week or the week after. My other clients who have taken the time to go through the session with me have found it extremely useful. And as I said, the session will only take 20 to 30 minutes. So on that basis, would you prefer to meet next Wednesday, 23rd at 2 p.m. or will Saturday, 26th be better for you? A challenging objection to manage is if the customer states he had a bad experience with AIA. Here's an example to handle this situation. Ms. Ann, I appreciate you telling me that. I am so sorry to hear that. If I were you, I probably would have felt the same way. Could you please share with me what happened? I assure you that I will do anything in my power to ensure this does not happen to you again. We have a very good team with an efficient reaction time here. Should you not be able to get me, you could speak to any of my colleagues, and I assure you that they will gladly assist you. You are one of my best clients, and it would upset me as much as it would you if something like that were to happen again. If you have no further concerns, shall we proceed with this? You might also receive a query from the client such as, "What is this product about?" Here is how you can respond. I believe that you can benefit from a clearer understanding of this product. Perhaps this product may help address any potential gaps in your insurance needs, and this is why I send it to loyal customers like you, to ensure the information is shared in the easiest way possible. If you allow, I'll be happy to answer any questions when we meet. The session will only take 20 to 30 minutes. So on that basis, would you prefer to meet next Wednesday, 23rd at 2 p.m., or will Saturday, 26th, be better for you? The last tool is refocus. Don't forget to refocus back to where your conversation ended with the customer, be it closing or explaining the benefits. If the interaction was pleasant, but they were just not interested in the product or service at the time, make sure to remind them that you're looking to create and grow a long-term relationship and would love to contact them in the future or vice versa. Seek their permission to continue the conversation at a later date. To leave the interaction on a positive note, you might want to craft a well-thought-through send-off message that will leave the person feeling that there were no hard feelings and that you'd still love to continue keeping in touch with them. Time to test yourself. In this section, let's review what you should include in a send-off message. The send-off message is very important in ending the conversation, especially one that seemed potentially negative. You never want to leave someone feeling upset or angry or with any reason to tell their friends about you or rant about you on social media. Word of mouth? It matters. Here are some tips for crafting a send-off message. Keep the message short, sincere, and straightforward. To drive home the point, include their name in the message. This makes everything more personal and makes them remember you are a human at the end of the day. Always thank them for their time and the opportunity to connect or speak with them. Wish them well for their day, their week ahead, or whatever context you choose. Finally, you may acknowledge some understanding of their point of view, so they aren't left feeling like they were speaking to someone who didn't listen. For example, "Hey Gary, I completely understand. No worries at all. Thank you so much for your time and the opportunity to chat with you about this. I hope you have a great week ahead and take care." Time to test yourself. In today's course, we have discussed about engagement methods and handling objections. You have learned about the 4 stages of engagement, which are introduction, growing relationship, customer loyalty, and advocacy. You also gained a better understanding of the emotional state of customers at each stage of engagement. You also learned how to read emotional signals over text that help you understand when to push a bit harder or step back when dealing with someone you may not know so well. You now have a better understanding of when to stop and step back in a conversation. We also discussed how objections could come from your client at any stage, from the start of your interactions until the final sign-off for a proposal, and how to make sense of it. We discussed the 4 strategies for overcoming objections and setting up for the future. The 4 strategies are listen, acknowledge, diffuse, and refocus. And finally, you learned about what to include in a send-off message while ending the conversation. Thank you for watching this course, Engagement Methods and Handling Objections. We wish you success in your learning.